Welcome and good afternoon. My name is Khurram Zaki. I'm the product manager for Dynamics 365 Unified Operations at Microsoft Middle East and Africa. It's my pleasure and honor to be here with you and with our fantastic partner Techvista Systems to talk about Dynamics 365 and the fraud protection, loss prevention capabilities that it brings to the market in its portfolio. Today, we're going to be talking around the specific capabilities that help retailers be more efficient, be more productive, and be more agile in the ever-changing post-COVID world. We're going to cover several topics today. I'm going to talk a little bit about what Dynamics 365 is in the greater scheme of things at Microsoft, how Dynamics 365 fits into the overall portfolio. And then I'll be handing it over to my friends at Techvista Systems to talk about the commerce capability and specifically the fraud protection capabilities within commerce. Microsoft is in a unique position in a way that we are not only able to support our customers through their entire journey of transformation, but we also solve for many other challenges that our customers have that comes with managing, optimizing multiple siloed solutions. Microsoft Cloud is an all-encompassing offering for our customers that helps our customers leverage the best of their business as well as personal productivity. It starts off with the Microsoft Cloud and Azure as the most trusted and scalable platform for our customers. This platform allows our customers to grow without limits, scaling with them as they grow as an organization. Then we have the Microsoft 365. This delivers the world's leading productivity tools for collaboration, creativity, and teamwork, especially very relevant in the post-COVID hybrid work environments where teams are not necessarily always sitting together. Microsoft 365 helps us be more productive as a person and as a team without constraints of where you were working from. And then we have Dynamics 365 at the center of it. Dynamics 365, along with Power Platform, delivers a full set of intelligent business applications that are integrated and extensible. Integrated to deliver to you end-to-end business process coverage, be it your front office capabilities, front office interactions with the customers, or your back office operations like supply chain management and financial accounting. This helps also to tie in or rope in the data across different Microsoft Cloud offerings, including Microsoft 365 and Azure, to give you an all-encompassing insight and intelligence that goes far beyond just historic-looking reports and more into the realm of AI, artificial intelligence, and forward-looking reporting. This all helps us to help our customers propel forward in their future endeavors. This revolves around the four key promises that Microsoft has to its customer in terms of how we make their businesses, their operations better by optimizing the way they work, their operations, by transforming what they offer to their customers, and by empowering the employees to make the right decision at the right time with the right insight available, all to engage the customers of our customers. This, in a nutshell, is what Dynamics 365 looks like in the greater cloud scheme of Microsoft. Dynamics 365 is not just a single solution. It's a set of modular applications that span across multiple business processes that a customer might have. Like I mentioned earlier, it cuts across the front office capabilities that any customer would want to have, like interaction to its customers, whether B2B or B2C, mid-office capabilities like cloud, retail operations, and back office pure operations like HR transformation. All of these can be enhanced by using the Power Platform capabilities. This allows us to not only democratize the data that sits in Dynamics today, but also helps us build those last mile industry-specific customer flavor veneer on top of the Dynamics 365 data. Hence, the Dynamics 365 ecosystem encompasses anything that a customer would want to have in their business application environment. Again, at the expense of repeating myself, this is a modular approach towards a business problem. So you can today decide to start off with a small application, and then as you see value in Dynamics, expand and grow beyond that application into the other business areas. For today's conversation, we're going to be focusing on our AI solution and specifically around fraud protection solution that is backed by the Azure AI capabilities that is inbuilt into Dynamics 365. I would now hand it over to my friends at Techvista Systems to talk more about the capabilities of fraud protection and how it helps customers and partners like yourself to better able to run your business, be more optimized, and be more agile in the way you approach your organizational processes. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of the session.
Okay, great. Thank you, Khurram, for the introduction and background. Hello, everyone. This is Ahsan Tufail, Senior Managing Consultant at Techvista, responsible for the pre-sales and solution delivery and helping the customers across the globe for their digital transformation with Microsoft Dynamics. As Techvista, we are global system integrators with expertise in retail, CPG, and digital commerce, along with distribution and manufacturing. Across GCC, we have strong footprints in the public sector and financial institutions, where we have worked with government entities and the banks. So Techvista is based out of UAE, where the offshore offices in Pakistan, India, along with the presence in Qatar, Germany, UK, US, and Canada, and we are expanding to other regions in near future. So we are Microsoft Dynamics Gold and managed partners and certified cloud and information security company. Our core offerings are around end-to-end digital transformations, big data integrations, automations, cloud, and IT services. So this is a brief on the Techvista background. Now I will hand over to Aurangzeb, who will take you through the session, and I will join later in the demonstration part. So over to you, Aurangzeb.
Thank you, Ahsan. Thank you, Khurram. Welcome, everyone. I'm Aurangzeb. I am a direct-to-consumer senior architect for Dynamics 365 in our Techvista group. My job primarily is to work with our customers and business partners to facilitate and to streamline their digital transformation journey. And over time, when we interact with our customers, they typically have a strategy to either lift and shift their existing applications, workloads to the cloud, as well as modernize their ERP, CRM, e-commerce, BI systems, and to streamline and optimize, transform the whole organization and their consumer-facing applications to make it digital first applications to improve their services to end consumers and adopt all the changes as well. So typically when we work across the globe with our customers, so they are actually specifically in retail, CPG, financials, so they are actually very much affected by the global changes as well as the consumer behaviors as well. So that is how the business is transforming around us across the globe as well. We have seen is once during the cloud era, also during the mobile era as well, when the mobile becomes popular and everything shifted from the desktop applications to the mobile applications. Then we also see during right before the COVID pandemic and even in the last 3-4 years, the buying habits has been changed. The people are more informed. They are making a lot of decisions right from their living room, right from the comfort of their handheld devices. There is a lot of social selling going on. There is a lot of advertisement being done specifically from the non-standard channels like e-commerce, mobile commerce, as well as social media channels as well. So this all trends actually shaping up the overall consumer behavior. We also see a generation shift from the Z generations, the new generations. They are actually more taking social conscious, brand conscious decisions as well, and that is a global trend. So we are observing it in different geographies in the world, and same trend is actually followed in GCC as well. And as you can see, we have over here different reports which you are also seeing the pattern developing. The e-commerce boom or these type of, instead of physical shopping from the brick and mortar store, has been shifted, and people are trying to do more and more transactions, either financial or purchase transaction and everything online. And this trend is still growing by the day, and more services are expanding. So previously, we were actually not only anticipating that it's affecting the B2C transactions only, but more and more B2B transactions where business and business is trying to exchange a lot of transactions. They are also expanding to the digital economy, and they are contributing for the e-commerce, social commerce, mobile commerce platforms. And same trend we are seeing in that right now it's around $25 billion dollar economy, and it's also expanding to may double in next 3.5 years as well. And this trend continue to grow. And with this trend, there are some key optimizations and key areas of investments were that people are making online transaction. But at the same time, we are facing challenges where different type of transaction has to be recognized. Are they legal, or if it's coming from the right users and with the right accounts and financially correct transaction, or is there is any behavior which is raising a suspicious activities for the accounts and purchases, which has to be catered as well. As the consumer behavior shifted, so these type of there is also there is a chance of frauds as well. So there is no, people are not worried anymore only from the store losses for stealing or any happening issues happening on the losses in the store as well. But the businesses has to plan and decide based on what is the cost of doing business on the e-commerce level as well. We also see sometimes there is a data leak happen online as well, which has to be secured to gain the loyalty and trust of the customers as well. The brands has to be conscious and make sure they are meeting the highest standards of the compliance with security regulations, as well as the encryption and all these type of security measures to make sure that the fraudulent activity has been detected early on and they do not affect their real transactions. So the cost of doing business online has been changed. The pattern has been changed as well, and we are seeing there is a more and more sophisticated attacks are getting developed on online phishing attacks. The bots has been employed as well. There is also ransomwares are there. There is always trying to capture the information from the authenticated users as well. And there's also like if like fraudulent transactions are happening, so the retailers are bearing the cost of the chargeback from the banks as well. So this actually has to be like must be an intelligent software which is helping the retailers to cater and combat with all these type of new challenges a retailer is facing as well. So if we see like today's modern user journey, so as a customer, like how we are interacting on the retailers or merchants websites, so there are different parts of the journey as well. Those are, first of all, we are actually browsing The websites as well, we are going over there. So it actually just the account a part of the journey where we are actually as an anonymous user or as a signed in user, we are browsing the website, we are looking into the content, the pricing, the services and goods the typical retailer is offering. And once we are doing our shopping analysis and everything, then we are ready to make a purchase over there. At that time, the transition from the whole catalog, the product listing pages, the comparison tools or interactive content we actually go to the purchase experience. And actually, if it's a very smooth experience for the sign up and payment options are there and do inventories available, people are inclined to purchase this thing as suited to them. And afterwards, then there is a post purchase experience, like if the person wants to exchange some goods, they want to return something, they have customer services, they are looking forward to have a exceptional customer service from these retailers as well. And this is a typical journey the whole either B2C consumers having on the e-commerce, mobile commerce sites as well, or even B2B consumers are looking forward for these things. However, within this activity, there is a potential areas where it could hurt the business, and a business, the modern business, has to safeguard their brand name, their IT system, their actually combined IP, as well as their consumers from the lot of different type of fraudulent activities which could happen in any stage. So we have to to make sure the system is available to the legitimate users. The system should safeguard against DDoS attacks, DNS attacks. There are services, the bots who are trying to scrape the data from the website to do their own comparisons. People can block the inventory. A lot of fake accounts can get created, and it can actually affect your marketing effort as well, not giving the actual insight which are legitimate users as well. There is engineered attacks to get the passwords and these type of information to get the goods delivered and make fraudulent transactions. And there are a lot of these type of fraud could happen with the different type of reward frauds are possible, the discount frauds are possible as well. And there are these type of frauds lead to some not only the financial loss to the brand as well, but the loyalty and the reputation loss as well. And even it affects certain chargebacks from the bank as well. And these type of activities are hurting the business as well. The modern business is should be able to not only provide the quality goods and services to their consumer, but also have the tools which gives this protections to their operations as well as their end consumers, that which they are getting the quality experience throughout the world on any a billion-dollar enterprise as well. So this is the area where it is become evident that as a requirement from the consumers, they are expecting that the brands they are browsing, or the financial institutes, or these type of online transactions they are doing, they are being protected from these type of fraudulent activities continuously, which are getting evolved by the day, and new fraud types get engineered on these platforms as well. So these are some of the more impacts we can see during the account management part of the customer journey during the purchase as well. Like we discussed that not only sometimes the stolen credit cards are used for the making the purchases. There is also the loyalty, reward, and discount frauds where people try to sign up multiple accounts, try to get some rewards, and then they can return sometimes these type of items as well. Or there may be in the business process some loopholes. If there are enterprises, they have disconnected e-commerce system, back office system, or even the point of sale, these type of systems. So the return policies or the pricing or the rewards and discount has such type of loopholes, which actually let either internal employees or the processes or even the external fraudsters try to hack the system and actually actually it's not the hacking the system, they are hack the process to gain rewards and goods without be affecting with affecting the real customers, and it is actually kind of a loss to the bottom line to the business as well. So for all these challenges, there are modern solutions, and one of the key solution which Microsoft actually invested, and was homegrown by Microsoft. Microsoft has faced the same challenge on their internal Microsoft sites, even the Xbox, as well as their own internal stores, that how to prevent these type of frauds, and Microsoft come up with the fraud protection solution, and it was branded as Dynamics 365 platform fraud protection solution, which actually helps not only protecting the account experience when the people are trying to create fake accounts or these type of bot attacks. It also protects the purchase experience to make sure the transactions which are happening, they are ranked, they are classified, they are detected as a safe transaction, and which increase the probability of score through several methods. It attests that it is coming from the legitimate user. So in the end, after the transaction, there is no chargeback from the bank, or thereby somebody can claim that this is not the right transaction, and this is being protected to have a frictionless checkout experience. And also, if there is some based on the brick and mortar store transaction analysis, it can detect if there is any anomalies happening due to some discount or returns or any sort of spike in activities which is not usual. So these type of activities are being detected, and there is organizations get they don't have to invest the manual SOPs or human effort. So this is all being taken care by a software which Microsoft bundled as Dynamics 365 for production, which is using machine learning AI technology, and it is learning from throughout the world the different type of practices, the security practices, as well as the new phishing attacks being developed by the fraudsters. These continuously evolving system, these are platform which is available on Microsoft Azure. It's sophisticated and give the retailers, the brands, the merchants peace of mind that they don't have to own the risk of having a very old software or rudimentary security protection, but skilled cloud-based machine learning and AI-enabled sophisticated piece of software which is keep on learning from the global risk assessments, and actually employing those risks in calculating the safe secure for the continuously account sign-ups, sign-ins on their website, the checkout experience and purchases on their website, and even analyze any sort of anomalies from their store operations. So let's talk more on these capabilities. What Dynamics 365 fraud protection provides specifically in these three pillars. So let's start with an example of account protection. So what typical type of frauds are possible over here, and how Microsoft actually protect against these type of frauds as well. So some of the typical fraud is like people trying to or people or the bots, they create a lot of fake accounts. The multiple accounts getting signed up as well for marketing, for loyalty, 10% discount on first order, or get $15 discount, or these type of things as well. There were a lot of different type of accounts get created, which is giving the business not the right picture of their true customer base as well. They could be used for fraudulent activities, and these, since these are black market accounts and these are fraudster accounts, so there is no traceability in sense of like these are used to carry out certain fraudulent activities, which is losing the reputation or giving the not the right statistics to the brand as well, and it even actually not giving the right data to run any campaigns or marketing strategies for the companies as well. So to cater these type of detections, like when the sign-ups are happening and sign-ins are happening, so Microsoft has actually have a fraud protection work in there. So what actually happens is like in a very fundamental way. So so we have like the browser website or mobile application, and people come for sign up or sign ins over there. So during the sign up and sign in, the Dynamics 365 for fraud protection solution, it has certain APIs endpoints which can be hooked to the company's existing sign up or sign in process. And during that, it will analyze that is this sign up or sign in happening is from the legitimate customer user, or it could be a fraudulent, it can flag it as a fraudulent sign up or sign in request. So how does this being done is that basically there are different type of strategies being employed. First of all, Microsoft is using something called device fingerprinting. So what the device fingerprinting mean is that whenever a certain sign up request coming to the merchant website or from initiating from the mobile application, system is taking around, like for example, in case of device fingerprinting, system is taking around 100+ attributes data from the device, like the browser, the screen size, the a platform installed, and there's a lot of these type of things, and create a unique a unique fingerprint of that device, and it can evaluate it along with IP origin source as well, the country, the time, and different type of parameters, and to assess is this the right application and right source from where it's generating. And not only this is this fingerprint is being generated and used in your website, since Microsoft is using their own cloud based technology, they are learning across the globe from different brands which is using the system, and even Microsoft own systems. So this being put over there and evaluated, like this is specifically maybe 5, 10, or 15 signups are happening from the same device. So it can detect that, it will flag those that this device is being continuously used for multiple signups or sign-ins, and it can flag it that this seems to be a fraudulent imposter, and it could block those imposters as well. Whereas if the same type of device and this type of information, it seems like a reasonable, like it's coming from the mostly GCC, and there is not being detected for a lot of sign up or sign-ins. So this could be seems a generic, typical user. It could be allowed to sign in as well. So what does this Microsoft do is that they take all this information, and there was some risk assessment is done from 100 to 999. It takes a risk score about that. And if it's something, the risk scores coming like 300 or 400, that means this seems to be a normal user, and it will pass back the information, which will allow the application to decide to make it sign in as well. So this is how the fraud protection works to make sure that there are not bots are signing up, there are not fraud, there are not people are signing up just for loyalty point from the same device, and these type of things. It will protect the businesses against these type of frauds. The second part of it, the frauds come in during the purchase process online. So typically, there could be different type of things could happen as well. Like when we are talking about the purchases, so one the typical or mostly if somebody has stored the credit card information or without the knowledge of their actually authorized users, they are trying to frequently purchase the gift cards, or they are purchasing the goods of services unless this fraud is known. So this is the typical scenario. Or they are actually sometimes maybe the goods and services are getting shipped to a certain locations which are already closed, or which is not the typical location where these items should be shipped, and these type of location it could go over there, and these could happen due to and without knowledge of their actually the owners of the credit card information, credit cards. The other type of fraud during the purchase could happen is that, and it sometimes happen is that maybe there's a rightful customer, but they are trying to, they are using a right credit card, but maybe that credit card was issued from a different bank or different region, and they are trying to do a shopping, but when they are trying to do a shopping on a certain site, the certain site bank, when it's routing to the bank is not having like a right level of trust for that credit card. Maybe the credit card issued in some Asian country, and somebody's trying to make a shopping, and during their trip to GCC, they are trying to make a shopping over there, and it could be rejected as a transaction as well, because the bank do not have the travel notice for that person as well, or maybe the site which is actually generating this thing site do not have that much credibility score with the bank, which can actually lead to a risk, and it will actually not letting the bank approve the transaction. So this way, a rightful customer who's trying to make a purchase, but its credit card is getting rejected. So this is a revenue loss for the merchant itself, and also the customer dissatisfied. So this will actually not a good branding for the brand itself as well. So these type of challenges happen, and there were multiple more variety scenarios we can cover, and I will tell you in the next slide some of more scenarios as well. But how more importantly, how Microsoft actually check this thing, or how it can help you in this case is, as soon as on the website customer is ready to make a transaction, so they selected the products on the website, they are on the checkout page, they actually input their credit card information or the payment instrument information, their delivery address, shipping address as well, their name and all the details, and when they press submit, so how it works is, before uh, actually making the transaction successful, what Microsoft is doing is it is taking the same device fingerprint information, the transaction workload, like what type of how much amount, what is the address, delivery address as well, some tokenized information from the payment, and it takes to the run it through the fraud protection Microsoft machine learning and AI based process to evaluate like what could be the possibility of the fraudulent transaction as well. So the one thing could be the device, there could be anomaly in this case, could be that you are trying to get the shipment done. For example, the card is issued from Dubai, but you are trying to do a shipment in another country. So this could be something which could raise some like a shipping address and billing address is not matching. This could be one scenario as well. There could be a scenario that same device which is fingerprinted over there, it is trying to make lot of transactions from the same device, which could be fraudulent, and there could be some very sophisticated rules which we call the velocity calculations, which could come over here. Like I give you an example. Let's say you have in the same device 5 or 6 accounts get signed in to sign out as well, and somebody from that account is trying to make a transaction. It raise eyebrows as well. System could assign a risk score, high risk score on it. Or for example, you have a account where in last 7 days 5 credit card has been updated or changed as well. So these type of velocity calculation along with device fingerprinting, raising the fraud. There is some kind of you can say the high risk assessment of these type of activity. Typically, another type of risk activity could be that since maybe you are running an online grocery store, and typically the shopper, the specific shopper is buying, let's say 500 dirhams monthly shopping, but all of a sudden there is like 2000 dirham shopping for a cart is reserved. So you have the options to detect it and put the transaction on a hold for more process, or you can assign a more score of fraud detection and evaluate what further could be done, or if it is highly risk, or maybe somebody is trying to make a transaction from another country which doesn't seems the right behavior of it, and system can detect this thing and it can assign the fraud score. So all doing this type of protection using the Microsoft fraud protection as well, or even your own rules which you can define, like maybe the delivery is getting done on certain postal codes, which seems highly risky, or maybe like I mentioned, somebody, if there is an account which has 4 or 5 credit cards being changed in last week or so. So these type of rules and these type of Microsoft a network of fraud protection system can actually assign certain high risk assessment. So this transaction could be blocked before it could actually do more damage. So the damage it is reserving is, first of all, if these checks were not in place, then if the transaction got happen, so the first of all, the end consumer whose credit card is lost, they will actually make a claim with the bank. So what bank will do? Bank will do a chargeback to the retailer that they allowed our a false transaction to process from the network. And if there are too many false transactions getting processed from the merchant website, the banks start charging higher fees on their legal transaction as well, because they are getting is as a high risk merchant which is not taking these type of security measures in place, and it is losing the revenue to the customer. So as a retailer, you lost the ships, you lost the goods and services as well, and also to that consumer, the brand loyalty and the brand repute is also at the risk as well. So that's why the fraud protection experience actually offload the risk of managing all these type of complexities from the customer, and actually offloading to a sophisticated system like Dynamics 365 fraud protection, which is keep on learning of these patterns from around the globe and making these type of judgment calls over here. Moving on. The third area of fraud protection is basically coming with the loss prevention system. So it could be happening to the consumers, like for example, these are the transactions which are happening on the brick and mortar store, but there is and these to be analyzed as well for any anomalies. So employees sometimes happen is that they can use the loyalty program to work around the business SOPs as well. So they are making the transactions to the general customer, but they are recording it on maybe the loyalty cards for their friends and family, or maybe if there is a disconnected systems online and a back office or point of sale systems, so maybe customers are purchasing something on discounted price on the website, but they are returning to store after some time or sales end with the full price returns, which is also letting the revenue loss to the customer as well, and it affect their internal fraud failures as well. So how this could be happening is that sometimes one other case is like the loyalty reward system as well. People sign up, like we talk about, with 10% discount, and they make from the same device or same user, they are actually make 5 orders, and each they get actually 10% discount, which is also actually letting to revenue loss, these type of things as well. And also maybe since the systems are disconnected, and like I discussed earlier as well, so people are buying online on like a discounted price, and they come back and return to store after some time at full price. So that what Dynamics actually do this thing for these type of scenario is basically it takes the transactional data from the point of sale systems and actually and it try to get the patterns developed as well. So this is not the real-time transaction like in the case of account protection or the purchase protection we have seen. That was a real-time transaction, but this loss prevention basically is that it takes all the sales and returns data from the history from the system, and actually it tried to detect some anomalies, like at which shift or which terminal or which login basically lot of returns are happening, or maybe where the lot of loyalty is getting used as well, or maybe certain cards or certain prices or certain products are getting too much return at certain stores or certain employees shifts as well. So this actually try to generate these type of reports and get the patterns so company can investigate and actually take action against these things. So with all these loss, once we have this loss prevention capability enabled with even the stores as well, so actually it actually reducing the fraudulent rates as well, and also it actually affects the like the bottom line revenues, and actually if there is it also actually help business to improve the customer satisfaction and improve their internal business processes. So what I will do next is we can actually go through some demo information of it, and where my colleague Ahsan will walk you through the AI model as well as how the platform will help you getting certain reports and certain data from the system and how you can evaluate in the reports. So let us go through the details and we'll show you all this information over there.
Okay, great, Aurangzeb. Thank you for the insights that you have just shared. So moving to the technical demonstration part, before moving there, so there are certain configurations that need to be done in the Dynamics Commerce. That is what we will discuss and demonstrate. So mainly there are 4 steps in the Dynamics configuration part, where you need to set up the parameters for the data connection, where you will enable your data lake integration by providing it the DNS name and the application information. Other than that, you have to set up the feature management. You have to enable the loss prevention feature within your Dynamics Commerce, and then set up the Azure Active Directory application and give it a retail service account. So if you come to the next slide, there we will have the option to like give the URL within the Dynamics fraud protection configuration. And this URL will get your Dynamics Commerce connected to the Dynamics fraud protection. And once you enable it, the system will notify that your commerce environment is connected. So I'll take you to the demonstration part. Aurangzeb, let me know when you will be able to see my screen.
Absolutely. And just in time, Ahsan is switching the screen. I can see the screen. Just one information. Natively, the Dynamics 365 fraud protection can work with Dynamics 365 commerce e-commerce platform as well as the point of sale and ERP. However, these APIs can hook to any e-commerce or point of sale or the sales system you may have in your organization as well. As in, I can see your screen. You can proceed.
Okay, great. Thanks, Aurangzeb. So if you see over here, I have the web URL where I have logged in to my Dynamics fraud protection environment. And on the landing page, it can give you a tour across the account protection, purchase protection, and the store fraud protection. And if you come down a bit below here, it will tell you that loss prevention is connected and it's working. On the left panel, if you see over here, we have certain fraud assessment features where we'll be taking you to the loss prevention. Then we have some in preview features that are released recently by Microsoft, and then the option where we can connect the environment or upload the data in case the backend system is other than Dynamics Commerce. So if we click on the loss prevention, so we have two options over here. The option one that we discussed, we have natively connected it with our Dynamics Commerce environment. And then you have the provision that you can upload the transactions from any of the existing system or get your Dynamics fraud protection environment integrated with any other solution. So over here, if you want to see what are the recent syncs or the failures that is done with the Dynamics or any other environment, so the system will give you a log that what have been the stats and at what specific times the data have been refreshed and logged into the Dynamics fraud protection. So if we come to the core where once the system processes the data from the Dynamics Commerce, so this is the landing page where you will have the all dashboards available and the date ranges. So this gives us like the date range criteria, the risk scores that we can filter on. And then if you see below, so based on the data that is provided to the model, the AI ML model of Dynamics fraud protection, it returns us some different stats across the staff and the terminals. So we'll explore some points from this dashboard and further how to crunch the data and the insights. Before going further, Microsoft have provided certain help and the links that you can see to review the data and some other information. And other than that, some tooltips are also there so you can interpret so what these means. So if you see here on the left panel, we have the date range. So based on the transactional data that have been fed to the Dynamics fraud protection environment, you can give a monthly, yearly date range to the system. And here you can give the risk score range where it starts from 0 to the 999, which means is the highest and the most risk prone data. If you see below, over here, so these are the data and the statistics around the revenue opportunity based on the staff data, that how the system and what amounts the system have identified as anomalous across returns and the discount with respect to your staff. And then on the right panel here, you see it returns you all, it gives you all the data that the system has like marked as fraudulent based on the returns and the discounts based on the terminal data. So loss prevention is based on anomaly detection that looks for patterns in data ingested into the system. It identifies the outliers through unsupervised machine learning and provides a list of anomalous terminals, anomalous actors, and anomalous products. So if we come back here again, and if we change the risk scores, giving us a risk score greater than between 9 and 999, which means they are prone to the risk. So the system will change the stats below based on the risk scores we have given to the system. So if you see over here, over a span of 2 years, the system is giving us these red lines that are very likely to fall under the anomalous transactions, and that can further be drilled down based on staff. And if you see over here, these are the data or the numbers and the statistics that can be further analyzed with respect to the terminals. If we further go below, so here the system is giving us the staff IDs, the unique staff IDs that the system has calculated this data on, that is 29, and the score count, that what and average score, that what's the average score across all these staffs based on the date range that we have provided. So if we see the staff below, staff number 150, if we go in further details, here the system will specifically give us a drill down for this specific staff with respect to the date range that we have provided. And if you see below, so this is the staff score the system is providing us with over the span of 2 years. So based on the data that we see over here, the 5 KPIs that Aurangzeb gave an insight into regarding the cash to card return ratio, the discounted items sold, and the employee discount or the return ratios, the system have identified all those KPIs, populated the data, and have given us an insight into the months of the respective years where these fraudulent transactions are at a higher end. So if we want to further drill down and see the reasons for all these returns and other information, so if we go down and see for the return ratio, so we see there is a lot of returns across staff number that we have just filtered out. So it means the data or the processes being done from that specific staff member are prone to a very higher risk level. So this tool can help you quickly identify your areas of risk. For example, which store, which terminal, which specific shift, or which specific employee is potentially misusing your returns and discount policies. So similarly, if
Ahsan, on this, we actually just have 10 minutes left, and we just want to cover some case studies as well as questions. So
sure.
To that. So just quickly, just a side note, anybody, if have any questions, we have some questions, we will answer it right after the case study. If anybody has any other question, please feel free to use the question box. We will answer it in 3-4 minutes. So a couple of more things on the case study, just to give you some examples, the real world examples. Bestseller, this is a brand from Europe. They are based in Denmark, and they have around 1,000 approximately stores in different brands they have. And they actually using this system, the Dynamics 365 fraud protection in their organization, and they are actually getting the benefit over there. And you can see we have a quote from their solution architect as well. So they are actually getting the real benefit, and specifically this is from the loss prevention part of it, where they are using the anomaly detection, optimizing their internal SOPs, and they actually figure out. And since if you can see the volume, they have around approximately 1,000 store. So think of it like a 2% optimization in their bottom line, actually going for a lot of yield in actually in increasing the revenue as well and bottom line as well. Another example, apart from this fashion retailer, is Microsoft itself. So Microsoft is running hundreds of their e-commerce sites, and they were actually, and they were the lot of all multi-million-dollar transactions are happening every week or online for the consumers online as well. Microsoft is using this platform, the Dynamics 365 fraud protection from across the globe transactions to evaluate it, to process those transactions, and any learning from any of these attacks or these security additions are getting added to the system. So as a consumer, as a business, you are getting the same type of solution which Microsoft is using and continuously enhancing for their internal use as well. The same system is being used by a bank, the Capital One. They were actually using the same system, and they were actually their consumer lending sites, and they were actually using the same system to address these type of concerns as well from the fraud. And as you can see, this financial institute, they are very prone to different type of frauds happening over there, and they were actually using the Dynamics 365 system to prevent these type of scenarios as well. So now we'll talk about some of the questions we have received, and we'll talk about it. The first question we have was, what is the recent releases in the preview feature? So some of the recent features we have is actually the one of the system, like I talk about the velocity calculations, where we can define our own rules. Like if a customer have done certain actions, they are changing their credit card 3-4 times in the last 15 days online, or they recently changed 2-3 different addresses online. This could be actually these type of rules could be defined as well. The other change is like we have added, like Microsoft have added the ability to add external calls as well. Like what does that mean is previously in the fraud protection, Microsoft is actually calling their internal fraud protection system to assess the device fingerprint as well as the user pattern to assess the fraud protection. But let's say you are a financial institute, or you need to link to some in maybe you need to maybe in Dubai, or maybe you want to link to a bank network to see if this specific customer is not a defaulter for any loan, or they are in a good their documents are in good shape, or IDs are there. So you can embed your external API calls as well. So apart from the fraud assessment calculation, your call will be made, it will return the result, and it will add to the cumulative score of the fraud protection as well. The next question we have is, okay, how the external systems can be integrated. So how it could be done is, let's say you want to incorporate the account protection or the purchase protection. So what we have is Microsoft has the APIs available for the system. So these are very ready-made APIs. You can pass certain parameters like account information as well as purchase transaction details. And what it does, it gives you back the return, the risk score, and its assessment whether it's a fraudulent activity or it should be allowed. So it's simply an API call, and which in split second give you the result back. So you just have to call a third party system. It will give you a result back and you can use it. So this could be one way of using it. The other way is that if you want to use a loss prevention kind of system, or you just want to evaluate Dynamics 365. So what does it do is that it gives you a template of CSV files for your past purchases, sales, chargebacks, customer history. You just upload it, and system, based on historical transactions which you have in your system, it try to find any anomalies and suggest you that this could be anomalous transactions as well. So you can use this system in this evaluation purposes, apart from integrating your third party e-commerce or other activity systems as well. The next question is how to provision the Dynamics fraud protection system. So there are two. Let me answer it over here. So and this is something where Techvista could help in this case as well. So number one is you can sign up with Techvista at we have an email down here as well, and you can have a discovery workshop where we come and we do a session with you specific to your scenario with Dynamics fraud protection in a day workshop where we give you like the overview and take your personalized data, upload in the system, and show you how it will working and how the system can evaluate, integrate with your systems as well. This could be one way of doing it. We can help you in that area, or we could help you in a rapid prototype POC where we take all your data input in the system and generate some trends and show you over here, or it could be helpful in this case as well. You can also go to the Microsoft website, and you can sign up for our trial for Dynamics fraud protection as well to see the data, and then you may need an implementation partner to quickly implement it with the best practices in your system as well. Okay. We are almost complete with our demonstration as well as session. So If there is any questions about the fraud protection, feel free to reach us. You can reach us for any inquiries on the same email address we have on the screen. We wish you all safety in the COVID in the pandemic, and wish you all the best for your personal growth as well as the business growth. Thank you for joining us today in this informative webinar, and we hope you prosper in your business and your personal goals in this year. Thanking you once again with my colleagues Khurram and Ahsan. Thank you very much,
Thank you,
everybody.
Aurangzeb. Thank you for the session. Really appreciate. Thank you for the time, everyone.